Tuesday. Yeah. How y'all feeling, man? Hope everybody night's going good. Yeah. 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 So tonight on the Daily Go Getter Mism Show, it's the Daily Go Getter Mism Show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it is? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking off fast lane, no coasting, and everything is gonna be all right. You know, we talking about everybody got somebody except for me tonight. You know, misery loves company. Y'all know misery loves company. And this seems like when you are lonely, when you are alone, when you don't have nobody, when you ain't got no boo, when you ain't got no sweetie, when you ain't got nobody to love, when you ain't got nobody to touch you, when you ain't got nobody to boo love with, to get cuddly with, to share a throw blanket with. What do they call them things? What's the blanket that they have where you got the arms in that shit? You know, you got the arms in that shit. It's really supposed to be for one person, but two people can get up in there. What's the y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. Everybody has somebody except me. 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 It's too early. You ain't getting these calls. No, it's too early, y'all. Ain't answering y'all. Gotta call back in about 15, 20. Matter of fact, let me turn all that down. Nah. It's not time for all that yet. It's not time for all of that yet. Y'all know whenever people call before I even give out the number, you know that ain't about nothing. Yeah, that's all running interference. But yeah, everybody has somebody except me. So that's what we're talking about tonight. So we're going to talk about the times when you might make a bad decision based on kind of peer pressure. Sort of like peer pressure. Nobody likes to be alone. People say that I'm good with being single, and there's nothing wrong with being single. But there's a difference between being single and being alone. There's a difference between not having anybody and not having any companionship. There's a difference between not even having any numbers to call or movies to go to or plays or museums or just a long walk, just a walk in the park. You know what I'm saying? Get her under the wing. This is my boo. This is my boo under the wing, the imaginary wing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Y'all remember back in the day? Back in the day, girls used to fit up under a man's arms real good. Nowadays, it ain't easy. How did we used to walk with them like that? We used to put our arm around our girl and walk down the street. It's hard to do that now. It is. It's hard to do that now. But that's what we're talking about tonight. That's what we're talking about tonight. Everybody got somebody except for me. 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 Everybody got somebody. Everybody got somebody. Everybody, nobody lonely. I'm the only one staring at the phone like a wishing somebody come to my home. It's like I don't want to be like this. Last year I was hooked up, but it looks like another year is going to go by. Yup. Everybody got somebody except for me. I gotta do better for me. You'll see. By next year, around this time, I have a boo. And I'm spoiled up right in the face of you. Everybody got somebody. Everybody got somebody. Everybody got somebody except everybody. What's the deal? Everybody else told me how you feel. Everybody got somebody. Everybody. 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 Everybody got somebody. Got everybody. 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 Everybody got somebody. Except for me. Can't take it no more. I gotta get somebody for sure as that. And that's how it's going down. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping Tuesday. Pretty Petty Tuesday. Pretty Petty Tuesday. What y'all know? What y'all know about that? Now listen. Listen. I want to let y'all know up front, I'm going to need y'all help. And I'm sure this is going to be an easy thing to ask y'all to do. Now, all right. Is the audio good? Are we good? Are we good on the audio? Are we coming through, crystal clear and all of that? Because the charging cable for the wireless microphone is broken. Now, I got my reserve. Y'all know. I got these. I got these. I don't really like to use these because these are the more low quality, but either one of these will do. So if the mic starts to go out, just let me know so I can go ahead and get that together. And everything will be all right. Pretty Petty Tuesday. For all intents and purposes. April 8th. April 8th. Shout out to all my Aries out there, the Rams. The Rams getting it in. Y'all doing a good job. Y'all doing a good job with y'all season. What up? I Heart Oakland. Thanks for coming back through, man. Appreciate you. Mucho, mucho, mucho. And also T Carry right morning, noon, and night. It's always great to have my peoples going directly into your side. Yeah. And Maritza Allberg. What's good? Okay. Michael Scott. The Snuggie. That's what I couldn't remember. Yeah, that blanket with the arms in it. A Snuggie. Yeah, we going to share a Snuggie together. You put one arm in, I'll put the other arm in. We going to get us a Snuggie. I ain't gotta hug my blanket all by myself. Get on up in here. I'll be your Snuggie if you'll be mine. I'll be your Snuggie if you'll be mine. Why won't you be? Please won't you be? Won't you be my Snuggie? Please won't you be? Please won't you be my Snuggie? That's how it's going down. Snuggie. Good looking out, Michael Scott. And Chris Kelly was good. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate y'all. I heart Oakland. Look, he's so delusional. He's the Lulu. He said Raiders better than the Eagles. Yo, the absurdity. Yo, you hear what he said? The Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh gosh, this is gonna be fun tonight. Kim's Wims. What up, Kimmy? What's good? Indianapolis is all up in the house. How you feeling? We are now rocking with the best. He says, no offense, son, but the women like dreads. Okay, what women? I'm just asking. What women? That's all I want to know. What women? All right. Okay. T Zilla says the women like it when you shave your eyebrows. Yeah, well, go ahead. Shave away. Hey, man, you like it, I love it. I mean, go ahead, shave right on away. All right, man. Everybody has somebody except for me. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have you ever been in a lonely, desolate time in your life where, you didn't, there's being single and then there's being like super single. I mean, like single, like in the movies and on TV. You know how like on in the movies, like pretty woman or cute girl and handsome dude, and they don't have nobody. They like a total clean slate. They are cable ready for each other. Cable ready. Just stick the cable in the back of the TV. We good. Hook up the box. A lot of people ain't super single. They single or they single-ish. They're single-ish. They're holding out for something better. They messing around with somebody that they may not really be attached to that much. They're sort of playing the field, but they're playing the field when they already on the field. They in the game, but they're not claiming to have a particular team. So it could be a situation where somebody does think that they're closer to them than they may be, but they're still single, but they ain't super single. They're not 100% undisputed. Ain't nobody gonna be able to say nothing if they see you and I together single. That's a different single. I heard Oakland. Let me just tell you something, young boy. You're doing too much. You asking questions. I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind you commenting, but you're doing a little too much. Slow your roll, homie. Slow your roll. It ain't that kind of party. Don't nobody give a fuck about those questions that you answering. That you're asking. I'm not even gonna answer that shit. This is not the place for that. What this is a place for is exactly what we're doing, and we're gonna make a home for it. So yeah, have you ever been in that situation where you really don't have anybody? Not only do you not have anybody that you are being physical with, you don't have anybody on your radar that you have really been having your eye on, that you're really ready to be with, or that you would like to ask out or whatever. That's different. And, if you have like a social life, basically just a social life where you are able to have eyes on couples that are getting together, developing with each other, getting closer, maybe on their way to marriage, having children, building lives with each other, living with each other, whatever the dynamics of their relationship is. And, you know, when you see people out there, when you know that you're unhappy, it's easy to see the happiness or perceive the happiness in other people. That's the best way I can put it. They may not actually be happy, but to you, they're going to look happy. They're going to look overwhelmingly content with each other because you want what they have. And that's not to say that you're jealous of them or anything like that, but it's not unusual or wrong to want what somebody else has when they have something good. You know what I mean? It could be something as simple as a bag of potato chips. Like, yo, man, I haven't had a great bag of potato chips in years. And look, he just over there, you know, just picking off one lay after another, one hers after another, a Ruffles. And for anybody who doesn't know, potato chips taste good as shit when they don't belong to you. Have you ever tasted somebody else's potato chips? Like, yo, can I have a couple of chips? Get a couple of chips. Like, yo, where you get these from? What kind of chips are they? Plain? These are plain? Thick cut, crispy, whatever. Anyway, when something doesn't belong to you, it's easy to perceive it as being superior or really, really good or, you know, just exceptional. And you want to be a part of that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. So, you know, but getting to that point where you will find somebody, the unfortunate part about this situation is that it can make you go off the rails and do something that you might not be prepared to do. You might put yourself in a position to get with somebody who likes you more than you like them. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because there are a lot of people out here who believe and have been taught that you should only get with somebody who loves you. Don't get with the person you love. I've heard people say this right out of their mouth. Don't date the person who you love. Date the person who loves you. And when I heard that, first of all, what does that mean to y'all? If and when you hear that, or if you live by that philosophy yourself, like, don't get with the person who you love, get with the person who loves you. So basically it's saying that if you get with the person that you fall in love with, then you're going to put yourself in a vulnerable position and you're probably going to get used or abused or not treated exactly the way that you want to be treated or should be treated. And you're not going to, the relationship isn't really going to work because your heart is in it and that person's heart is not in it. So they say get with the person who falls in love with you. So in other words, if somebody loves you, adores you, they're willing to do anything for you. They're more than willing to bend over backwards to treat you right. That's the person you should get with. And I'm thinking like, you know what? That sounds like some reverse predatory shit. Like, I'm not going to get with you because I'm in love with you. I'm not going to get with you because I love you. I'm not going to get with you because I even really dig you like that. But you have pledged to submit to me and give me everything that I want and make my time with you easy because I don't have to do anything and you'll do everything for me. Yeah, that's the one I should be with. That's the way I'm looking at it. Now, if you have a different version or a different view of what I was just talking about, please let me know. Please let me know. Kimmy Kim says, hell, that's me right now. Super single, I guess. Nobody interested in me. I mean, really interested. I'm not talking about someone trying to get a little sugar and nobody I'm interested in. Okay, I guess, you know what? I guess that's super single, but to me, that's still single-ish. You know, and are you sure? So if somebody's trying to get some sugar, I'm not sold that they're not interested. Because the right sugar can turn that Kool-Aid into a hellified drink. Give me the cherry and the lemon. Mix that shit, yo. You know what I mean? I'm about to go to Kim crib and get a little sugar. Sugar. You know she good as that Kool-Aid. Yeah. No, man, fuck that high C. No, I don't want that Minute Maid. Keep that Tropicana. No. I don't want none of that. No, we going Kim. No, it ain't sugar water when she make it. You know, come on, son. Anyway, Kim says nobody I'm physical with, nobody I'm spending a lot of time with, just super single. I guess if that's the term we're using. Okay. Access to Rome. What's good? Haven't seen you in a minute. It's good to see you again. Great to see you again. That's what's up. But yeah, Kim, like being super single. I mean, I guess if you say you qualify as being super single, then I guess you are, because you're actually navigating that. You're actually navigating that. If you don't have anybody that would dispute if you came around, with a new potential boo, and there's nobody else that could step in and be like, I thought we was on our way. I thought we was doing things. I just bought you a hot sausage from our favorite hot dog cart the other day. Come on, man. Like I had everything on that shit. I had mustard, ketchup, fried. I had onions on this shit, sauerkraut, relish on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I was about to get the little chili on that shit too. You said, nah, hold the chili. But I got. So you mean tell me I bought you your favorite hot dog, hot sausage, and whatever? I mean, I'm not giving you a hot sausage, but I bought you a hot sausage. I would like to give you the hot sausage, but you about to, it looked to me like homie about to give you a hot sausage, and he ain't buying it. What's up with the hot sausage? Yo, so that's what you doing? You choosing, you know what I mean? You picking and choosing sausages? I'm out here buying sausage. Y'all see the motherfucking things I get? I'm out here buying sausages. I'm out here buying sausages for bitches. Hey, yo, son. Yo, you should have seen. Yo. She had everything that sausage. Yeah, I mean, she had mustard, she had ketchup. He split the sausage down the side so it fit on the bun real good. And that made room for the sauerkraut, the onions, the relish. Salt. The mustard and ketchup. She was. And now she. Yo, what we doing? What up, Wes? What's good? Mia Cunningham, what's good? Thanks for coming through. But yeah. So yeah, when you're super single, you can navigate that. But a lot of people who are super single are not navigating it. And that's not the position that they want to be in. And that's not what they want to. And super single is not what they want to be. They want somebody to go ahead and lock arms with them. They want somebody that they can do a laying down chest bump with. They want to lay down and do a chest bump. I don't want to. No. Hold up. No. We not doing the touchdown. No, I don't want to give you. I want to give you a chest bump. But I don't want to, I don't want to be too heavy on your thoracic cavity, you know what I'm saying? And cause a respiratory problem. I want to do something. I want a chest bump right now. I want a chest bump. Everybody has somebody except me. 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 It be seeming like every time I walk down the street, yo, I'm seeing somebody that I would like to meet, but it's not going down like that. And yeah, my man just caught him a cat. And I ain't talking about the furry thing that licks itself so he get clean. You understand what I mean? He got himself a nice little shorty. He's doing things. Yeah, I know the kid naughty, but he likes it for real. And they ain't just laying down. They ain't just showing skills. And one day I will be in the same position. Right now, I'm on a single mission. I'm super single. I feel like one Pringle. You can eat just one Pringle. We was talking about chips earlier in the show, but I ain't trying to eat chips all by myself, yo. I buy you some Lay's, buy you some Hers, yeah, but I'm really trying to get with Hers. Yo, what the deal? How you feel? Yo, I'm feeling like this lonely as hell. I'm ready to kill. Not myself. I ain't going out like Harry Carey, but I'm trying to do this thing. Life is getting scary. Yeah, 40 or 50 years old, and I ain't been with a girl in a while. I ain't getting no hold. And I don't mean to be vulgar, but I'm like, I need somebody so I can lean on my shoulder. Come on, baby. Yo, come on in. Let me show you this little something. Yo, let's start this thing. Me and you, yeah, you know how we do. I'm trying to link up with you, call you my boo. I ain't had a boo in a while. Been a while since I practiced making a child. And that ain't even really my style. But right now, I'm getting my... All right, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody got somebody except me. That's the shit that'll make low vibrational people go out and choose somebody just to be with somebody or just to say that they have somebody. Yeah, it sounds immature. Yeah, it sounds childish. Yeah, it sounds like a follower's mentality. But people do it. I'm tired of being lonely, man. I'll be by myself. I'm tired of bragging about masturbating all the time. Like that shit is really... That's a female thing. Oh, yeah. I got my rose. I got my bullet. Oh, my God, it felt so good. I did it 2-3 times last night. I'm trying to find a man that'll live up to my hand. I'm trying to find a man that'll live up to my hand. Trying to find you a man that'll live up to your hand. This shit is crazy. Cooking like making the band. Bing, bing, bing. I said, bing, bing, bing. Come on, man. What we doing? What we doing? Kim Swim says, if I started talking to someone seriously, of course there are two who would feel a little something, but they don't speak up. So I'm single, and that doesn't count. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yes, master. I hear you. And she says, I don't want to be single, LOL. I just am. I don't want to be single, but I can't push myself. I don't want to be single, but I can't push myself. All right, Access the Rule says, get her in the 3-point stance. Yes. I'm trying to tackle you into the sheets. Access the Rule says, it must not meant to be. I'll keep going with the flow till it happens. All right, okay, I hear you. Mia says there are seasons for everything. Sometimes we want to force the season to end when we want. We got to learn to be in the seasons we are in and learn the lessons meant for that time. I mean, I can't argue with that. But it's it's like when you had a drinking buddy and then one of y'all stopped drinking. You ain't got it. Don't mean y'all can't be friends no more, but now y'all not drinking buddies no more. Y'all on a different plane. What have we done? That seems like we have a caller calling at the right time. Hold on. Oh, damn. I don't know. I don't know. It did that last night. We got to make sure that people ain't getting cut off or calls ain't getting dropped or whatever. I might have to make a call. But anyway, caller, if you wanted to speak, just call right back. Just call right back. I'm going to try to hold back from calling you. Anyway, yeah, if you and somebody else are drinking buddies and then they don't drink anymore, it doesn't mean that y'all can't be friends anymore, but y'all can't be drinking buddies anymore. And more than likely, you don't want to hate on them, whatever, just because you still in the bottle. They done left the bottle. You know, so you might be proud of them for leaving the bottle, but you know, when it's time for you to hit the bottle, they ain't there to hit the bottle with you. You know what I mean? The bottle gone. After the bottle's gone, how could you lead me on and not get me drunk all the time? But anyway, so it's the same thing. It's like when you and a friend, or y'all both single, y'all used to swap single stories. Like, yeah, you know, dating is hard out here. The dating pool is a cesspool. Oh, the dating game is so bad. You know, women always be complaining about the dating. Oh my God, it's bad out here. Oh, I gotta get booed up. And on some real shit, every time I see that on the internet, oh my God, the dating scene is so bad. Oh my, I mean, they be talking about that shit like it's the war in Ukraine with Russia. Like, oh, it's bad. Oh, the rockets red glare, bombs bursting in air. Oh, look, oh, another building went down. They killed his family. Ugh. That's how they be talking about the dating scene. I'd be like, can it be that bad? I mean, you know, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. It's a cesspool. Nasty. Nasty. Nazt. Nasty.
You have a call from
caller with the last number is 5639. Welcome to the Daily Go Getimism Show. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind tonight? What's good?
Don't start some shit when I'm here.
Listen, man, I ain't starting. Nah, I'm just trying. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, yeah. That's sometimes you got to give your bookie a little nookie. You might win. Anyway, so what's up with you?
So let's talk about this single dating, yada yada. Let's talk about this for a minute. So when you say single, does that necessarily mean lonely? Because you made a comment earlier, and it's been such a minute, but I can't remember what it was. But I knew it was like, so does single mean lonely? Because I don't think just because somebody's single, they're lonely. However, there are parts of dating that one may miss. For example, I'm single, but I'm not lonely, but there are parts of dating that I'm in. For sure, it's parts of being in a relationship that I'm in. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm lonely.
Well, the title of the show is Everybody Has Somebody Except for Me. So that already kind of lets you know what kind of mental and emotional state somebody is in when they say something like that. Because if they wanted to be single, if they were happy being single, if they were content in their relationship status or whatever, then it wouldn't be like everybody has somebody except for me. It would be like, I got what I want and everybody else is doing what they want. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah. the language of it pretty much indicates that they want to get hooked up too. Now, what some people will do in order to appear hooked up or to actually be hooked up separates the men from the boys. Because I don't know about you, but I've seen some trifling shit in the name of trying to make some shit look good. People have got married over this shit.
Which is stupid. That's just, I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for me. At this point in my life, at this age in my life, I'm not wasting time just to say I'm in a relationship. That's dumb as hell to me. And I know people do it. If that works for them, it works for them. Like I know people around my circle who are in the most miserable relationships and they should just be single. Like, why the hell are you wasting your time in these unhappy, miserable relationships? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be in a relationship just to be mad and angry and arguing. Because if that's what we're doing, I can stay single and not have to deal with that.
That's true. That's true. But some people have been in toxic or unhealthy situations so long and so often that they have become kind of desensitized to it. So they think that everybody just has the same problems, as if what goes on in their house is going on in all the other houses. But they don't know that that's not true.
I used to almost scoff at the phrase, you have to learn to love yourself before you can love another person. I used to think that was just talk. But I believe there is some validity to it. I do believe there is a point we have to love ourselves and heal when we're in something in order for us to have a healthy relationship with another person. Like, it's no secret. I was in a relationship that was decent. It wasn't bad. But I had some things I needed to heal, and he had some things he needed to heal. And in the end, it wasn't horrible, but I wasn't in a good place to date anyone. I just wasn't, especially my friend. So it just kind of made things really bad for us. And the best thing was for us to cut ties before it ruined the friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do believe there is something to that. And unfortunately, some people never address those issues, address those things, or experience self-love before they start going into a new relationship. And again, I say we most of us are in the second season of our lives. Why on earth would you spend this second season doing the same things you did the first season? This is a time when you're supposed to enjoy all of the benefits of being in a relationship. Like, even when it comes to sex, now you understand the orgasm and you really can enjoy it. Now you know how to go out and have adult good times and fun and enjoy it. No longer are you just stuck on the physicality of the relationship, but you're really in the relationship. Because now you got grown people shit to talk about and grown people shit to do. So, and looking at the people around you sometimes ruins you, because we live in a world where people put up a facade. You see that out on social media. You even see it in your friend group sometimes. They put up a fake relationship in front of you, but behind closed doors, they're miserable, even though some show you in open doors that they're miserable. Mm-hmm. So you should never base how you feel on what everybody else is doing. That's insanity. You'll never be happy if you do that. And if you just rush into something just because other people are doing it and you're not, that makes it even worse. That's just my thought on it.
Some people are followers without admitting or even realizing that they're followers. And some people feel like some things are worthy of following. And I agree that some things and maybe some people are worthy of following. But you have to really, you have to dig in and really decide what's good for you and what's not. Now, getting into a relationship is, I think everybody is should find somebody that they can be with, romantically and all of that. But everybody's technique for finding the right person isn't the same, because we don't all come from the same relationship culture. We haven't all been taught to hook up in the same ways, which can be a good thing. But for people who think that just having somebody is good because you can always build on that. So, having nobody means you have to start from ground zero. If you at least have somebody, I guess the mentality is that, well, we liked each other enough to at least start going steady, start being exclusive, start, showing genuine interest in each other. So, hopefully we can open up the lines of communication and start to build on this thing and maybe get a little bit better. But I don't know if everybody who starts from that situation or gets into that situation has really vetted the person or even vetted themselves. Like, have you asked yourself, do I really want to be with this person? Am I the reason I asked the question in the poll about have you ever been with somebody just because they wanted to be with you? A lot of people have done it. Now, according to this poll, people not into that. You know, they said only 19% out of 16 votes have done it before. So that equates to about 2 people. But I know for a fact that a lot of people have done that. And they normally do that in response to being hurt by somebody who they felt vulnerable to, and when things didn't go their way, so they took the advice of some elder that told them, girl, you better stop, you know, them men you fall in love with, don't go with them because they'll use and abuse you. Go with the man that promises you that he's always going to be there, the one that shows up with the flowers, the one that sends candy, the one that's Johnny on the spot, the one that open the car door for when you get in, and when he stops the car, he gets out and comes all the way around and opens the car door. You know, the ones that do that consistently. And it's like they never ask you, like, well, do I have to like them? They like, it don't matter. You'll grow to like him enough because you like what he's doing for you. So to me, that's a little bit predatory, but there are a lot of people out there that will be with somebody just because they wanted to be with them. And it's not just a female thing. Men have done it too. Like, yeah, I really want to be with Big Butt Keisha over here. I really do. But, you know, Pound Town Rhonda over here is promising me everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be cuffing season all year with Pound Town Rhonda. You know what I'm saying? You know, hey, people have done it. But the thing is, it puts you in a position where you might become the predator instead of the prey. Now, if you okay with that, it shows that the evil that has been bestowed upon you has now poisoned you. Now, you the zombie. You done got bit by the zombie. Now you the zombie. Now you sucking the blood out of somebody to stay alive. But yeah, you know, so
I'm thinking about what you're saying. I'm trying to discern if I've ever been with somebody because someone else is, and you know, it's terrible what I'm about to say, but usually if someone is trying to force me with someone, it almost makes me dislike the person. Like, if you're forcing me to be friends with somebody, it makes me not like the person. So if you're trying to talk me into being in a relationship with someone just because, like, I have a friend now, a guy friend who is trying everything to get me married off. He is so laser focused on that. Him and his trash wife are so laser focused on getting me married for whatever reason. And we have these conversations to the point where I just have to hang up on him because his favorite thing to say is we're not getting any younger. I'm like, well, that almost suggests that we're going to settle. And he's like, well, what does that mean to settle? And his thing is, well, if you're focused on not settling, then you're settling to be single. I'm like, I don't agree with that. But that's his thing. And so he's always introducing me to someone who I don't think he even vets the person to see if we match. He's just focused on you're single and he's single. So you two single people should hook up. And it's like, I don't even like this dude. We don't have anything in common. Well, why are you doing this? And his thing is, because you need to be married. You shouldn't be at your age and have never been married. And he's like, I've known you since we were kids. You don't even act like you've ever loved anybody. And I'm like, I've never been in love, but I've loved. And he's like, but that's not enough. And at this age in your life, you should at least be married once. And I'm like, so I should do it just to be married? Just to say I've been married? No. And so I think, and that almost makes me dislike anyone he introduces me to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've been in relationships just because it just happened, yes. Because we were kicking it, because we were hanging out. We were doing all the relationship things. And then one day the guy's like, you know we go together, right? I'm like, okay. You know, that kind of thing. But never because someone said you're gonna learn to like them. If I have to learn to like them, I don't like them now.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. You know, I was driving to work today, and I heard R. Kelly in public announcement song "Slow Dance," and it changed my whole perspective on life. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is a good song. Like, yo, R. Kelly was killing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
how did it change your perspective?
it did. It did. I knew what the show was going to be today when I heard "Slow Dance." I was like, you know what? You're the only one I wanna slow dance with. Yeah. I was like, you know what? See, people be in the club or people be in the house party at the get together, whatever, and they see two people who don't go together and they slow dancing, and you can tell they gonna hook up after the joint, and you sitting there with your little vodka and orange juice, vodka and cranberry and all that shit. You know what I mean? And you looking at it like, dang, you know what? I'm not going to slow dance tonight. I didn't slow dance last time. And until I get me somebody to slow dance with, my life is not going to be fulfilled. Meanwhile, he's steady watching, you know, this couple over here, they, you know what I mean, bumping and grinding and slow winding, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, it you know, this was before he was R. Kelly the solo. This before 12 play.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, nobody said you couldn't listen to R. Kelly in public announcement. You just not supposed to listen to the...
Well, that's true. They are focused on him specifically. Yeah, kind of crazy, but real same person, but whatever.
They had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
He had to leave them in order to start getting wild.
He was probably already wild. And,
he was. Look, he literally got younger after he left.
He broke free from people who had eyes on him. That's how they.
Yeah. Oh man, they didn't enable him.
Exactly.
But yeah, but no, for real. Yeah, for some people, they can get very influenced by seeing, you know, all of their friends, their social circle start to hook up, start to get married, start to, you know, be with people, whatever. And that's regardless of any of the challenges that they may see going on in other people's relationship. They want to get in there too. You know, it's just like, I guess it's just like being a boxer. Like, well, yeah, I see where he whooped your ass, or where you may have had trouble knocking him out, or, you know, getting the win. But if I was in there, I would have a better strategy. But right now, I can't get in the ring. I need to be able to get in the ring. So they'll find somebody to get in the ring with. You know what I mean? And it's not always the best choice.
I get it. I could see someone watching others around them enjoy things and they want the same thing. I get it. But maybe, I've never been one to want to keep up with the Joneses. So there's that. So that's probably why I'm unimpressed. And maybe it's because, like I said, there's not a lot of people in my circle who I see have these amazing relationships. So I'm like, ooh, I want some of that. Like my best friend now, she has a great relationship, but she's been with the same guy since we were teenagers. They've been married for 16 million years. So, of course, I'm more inclined to celebrate them than to look and want that same thing. It's not to say I don't want it, but again, they've been together since we were 14, 15. So there's nothing about that I can look at and I'm like, oh, I want that, because we're beyond that age. I'm not going to get that length of time they've had. So it would never compare. So I can't see myself comparing to wanting what they have. That's something totally different that I could never say.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few others who are in decent relationships who I see, but none make me feel like I'm just going to settle because I want that. Because my version of happiness is not the same as theirs. My version of the kind of guy I like is not the same as theirs. My version of my peace is not the same as theirs. And I think that's where the problems come in. People look at other people's situation and decide, well, I want to be that kind of happy. And they don't even know, again, if that's real happy or what that happy looks like. That you have to find what makes what works for you. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's true. But sometimes it like adult peer pressure is a real thing. Whether
I know it.
yeah, and that's whether you acknowledge it or not. But people strive, even though we praise people who are individualistic and who are independent and who know how to forge ahead and make their own mark and do their own thing and set their own trends and all that. We like that. But the majority of people out here in this world really just want to be like everybody else. They don't necessarily want to do what it takes to stand out, because they figure that that's a lot of unwanted attention that they probably aren't ready for, built for, programmed, wired for. And so they really just want to be able. It's just like if everybody is doing 85 miles per hour on the highway, then the state trooper he can't stop everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, how you pick me? We all going 85. Nobody's even doing 90. We all managed to do 85 at the same time. So yeah, people look for that kind of thing. That's what they call normalcy, which is actually not a word. It's really normality. But president. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they want that. They don't want to stand out as the only one who don't have something, or the only one who can't do something. And maybe a lot of it stems from childhood insecurities, whatever the case may be. Childhood insecurities mature into adult insecurities. No, that's just the way it go. So
and we have pressures from everywhere. We have pressures from our friends, our loved ones, our families, our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles. We have pressures from everywhere. Pressures from what we see in the entertainment world, pressures from any kind of television, radio. We have pressures everywhere. And then as adults, there are all these new caveats that come with being in a relationship that I don't know where this ridiculousness comes from, but this new, you have to have this and you need to act like this and you need to present as that, and a refined woman, you have to be like Sarah in the Bible, and all this old bullshit to me. And let's address the fact that the dating world is trash right now. It is absolute garbage for whatever reason. Does it mean there's nobody out there? Of course it doesn't mean that. But it just means the stakes are different. And I don't know if it's because we're older. I don't know if it's because our expectations are different. I don't know if it's because we matured past that proverbial list that we had in our youth. I don't know if any of that is it. But I just know it's different. And it could be, maybe it feels different because I'm a woman. Maybe it feels different because I'm me. I just know it's different and it's fucking stuff. And maybe it's because when I was younger, I don't think I cared as much. I'm not saying I didn't, but I don't think I cared as much because I had a comfort blanket. Like I said, I'm a repeat offender. So you would think I dated a lot of guys, but I didn't. I dated a lot, but it was the same guys, just at different points. So let's just say we dated in 1999, and then we broke up in 2001, and then we dated again in 2003. And then we broke up again and got back together in 2007. So it just was a repeat group of people. So I had my comfort blanket. And now I don't have that blanket anymore because we're older. Some have transitioned on to whatever lies beyond. Um, some have just ruined themselves and they aren't in the same space they were as adults. Some are just different. So I don't have that comfort blanket anymore. So dating is a challenge for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm awkward when it comes to dating. Like, I've never had to flirt, so I really don't know how to flirt. And I don't know when someone's flirting with me sometimes. So there's that. And then I realize I am awkward when it comes to it. So it makes it a little more difficult. Again, I don't have the comfort of, you have been my friend since we were 17. And hey, what we doing? We just kicking it and hanging out. And 2 months later, now we're in a relationship. I don't have those comforts anymore. And when I see what's out there, I'm just like, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, but let me talk about this dating thing, this dating scene, dating pool, or whatever. Because I just think it's interesting how when we were younger, we didn't complain about dating and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that some of the things that may influence how we feel about it may be our, not just our age, but our expectations because of our experiences and our maturity. You know, like when, you know what I noticed? I noticed that I've never seen a young girl complain about young boys walking around with their pants hanging off their ass. I have never heard a young chick complain about that shit. You understand what I'm saying? You know, I think it's the weirdest shit. I'm like, this nigga pants hanging all the way off his ass. You know, I mean, what? But and I've never heard a young girl be like, "Yo, he need to pull his pants up." Never. I be looking like, so ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
There's been a handful I've heard, but not very many, and they're not as vocal about it, and I don't understand it. And maybe it's because in our youth, we didn't see that. I didn't. You know, we were just different. So I didn't see a lot of boys with their pants hanging out because I would not have been interested. But now it's so, God, the pants down to their damn knees. Like, what are you doing?
My point is, regardless of what you grew up with, does it look right to you or not? And evidently, to them, it doesn't look strange. It's not a cause of concern for them. You understand what I mean? So they're in a different space. Now, do they find the dating scene easier for them or whatever? I can't really say. But I know when we were younger, we had our same challenges when it came to dating, hooking up and all of that. But most of the dating most of the challenges was centered around finding somebody that you really, really liked. And it seems to me like it's the same shit. Finding somebody that you really, really like. The thing is, we didn't investigate. I guess we were only really concerned about somebody cheating before. Now we have way more. The stakes are just so much higher. We have more to lose. Or do we? Because back then, you know, we could easily, you know, either get pregnant or get somebody pregnant. You know what I mean? You got a whole baby mom situation and shit. And you know how many of us fell victim to that, you know, and we also grew up in the crack era, the AIDS era, you know, like
think about it too. Again, we were young and we almost felt invincible. We weren't thinking about tomorrow. We weren't thinking about lasting. We weren't thinking about the time spending with someone as you get in the later years. We weren't thinking about that. That wasn't our focus. It was, we don't get this person, we'll be with them forever, but never did we really consider what forever meant. We weren't thinking about if I get sick or if this person gets sick. We didn't have a bunch of responsibilities like owning homes and adult children and grandchildren and bringing people around your grandbabies. We didn't think about these things. We weren't worried about the kind of career this person has and retirement. We didn't have all the pressures that come with being an adult. You know, the lies we were told because they didn't tell us what this hood looked like, that adulthood is garbage. They didn't talk to us about that. So we didn't know all that comes with it. And now that we're adults and now that we're in the second season, all this stuff comes with it. And so now you consider who you want to really spend time with. Because let's talk about it for real. In our 20s and 30s, we were getting it in on a regular basis. But when you get past 50, it's not so much about getting it in because you're not getting it in as much. So now you really have to determine the person you're with. Because once everything is done after a few minutes and you're washed off, now you have to really be engaged with this person and intimacy comes into play. And I don't think we were as focused on those kind of things in our youth because why would we? But now it's not an option of if we're going to. It is a requirement now. We have to think about these things. We have to focus on these things. You're not, listen, you're a cat person like me. And I know that's your baby. You are going to be concerned if a woman comes around and she's like, I absolutely hate cats. So I'm like, oh, that's fine. Good. You just can't come around me. And that seems like nothing to some people, but it is a big deal. I remember a guy said to me, I want us to do this and this, but I would be concerned about us going out of town because you would be worried about your fur animal. Of course I would.
About your what?
My fur animals. I don't know what that meant. I just was like, okay, done.
Fur animal?
Yeah, that's what he said. And I'm like, I guess I got a baby bear. I don't know. Some cubs going on around here. But in any case, I'm like, of course I would. What are you saying? So those kind of things are important too. They seem small, but they are important. Even when we get into the political situation. Look at where we are right now. I'm not going to date someone who is a Trump supporter. That seems like a nothing something, but it's a something something. Because we can't sit around and I'm angry that these things are going on and I'm worried about tomorrow. And you're just like, hey, we're good and life is good and let's celebrate. No, we can't celebrate shit right now. So those things, they matter to us. And now they are big to us. So I think that's the difference. We've grown up.
Listening to you, I realized I've never been able to relax when it came to dating.
I haven't either.
I mean, because I'm thinking like, there's never been a time when I thought I could just fuck with no consequences. I mean, like, I don't even come from that. You know what I mean? My pop had a lot of kids, so I already knew, like, oh no. This snake is spitting. So and plus, I mean, like I said, we grew up in the AIDS era. We could die. You know what I mean? We could die. And niggas was dying. I'm like, nah, I ain't no shit. Yeah, we not doing that. So, and there was just, I guess I was always, even if I appeared to be reckless, I was only but so much, you know what I mean? Like, we not doing that. But yeah, and I've always vetted women to a certain degree. Like, I ain't never messing around with no, I ain't like no dancer chicks and no, I ain't trust no chicks that was like dirty or like, I don't. If you want to be a hoe, you gotta be like an undercover hoe. I can't mess with no outright. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows she a hoe. Like, I don't know, but I was saying all of that to say this. When I asked you the question originally, and when I was talking about how I've never seen any of these young girls or heard any of these young girls complain about dudes having they pants hanging off their ass. Now, Mia Cunningham in the comments said she's heard young girls complain about it, how they don't like the way it look and all that. All right, that's cool. I'm just saying I haven't heard it. And it's no wonder that I haven't heard it, because where I'm looking for it, it probably didn't exist. Whereas where, from a woman's perspective, she may have seen things that I haven't seen and been in the space to hear what I may not have been able to, what I may not have heard, even though it may have been said. But when our expectations have a lot of, they weigh a lot on us, and I guess it's funny because when I was listening to you and you were saying like, we thought we would be together forever, blah blah. When I was younger, I didn't think that way at all. I never thought that I would be with somebody for forever, whatever. I was like, nah, I'm in my 20s. I'll be with you for now. You know what I mean? Ain't no forever. We're not doing that. But that was me. I had plenty of friends who were looking for that and who actually found it. So, it's just different. But you have to know yourself. So you can't expect the dating scene to become what you need it to be. You have to find who you are and then attract what will bind to you correctly. We have the internet out here, and that really that puts a different light on the whole dating scene, because you can't X that out. You can't totally eliminate the power of social media or dating sites and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what the dating scene is, literally. That's where it comes from.
I don't know how to fit into that world. That's, as much as I am a digital person in my work life, I cannot navigate that in my dating life. For whatever reason, I struggle with it terribly. And I'm like, am I really that old, air quote?
No,
because
you're not old.
Can't navigate that. That doesn't.
This shit ain't cool.
From a different background.
It ain't cool. That shit ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Look. Just like you were saying, you're in that digital background and all that kind of shit. There are plenty of people who don't even go to dating websites. They use Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Man.
And that's why a lot of people have such a negative view of regular social media sites, because people are literally using them shits as dating sites. And I'm like,
you used to use Craigslist today, and I was thinking, why on earth, in your logical thinking mind, would you use Craigslist as a place to date?
Because they have a gambling mentality, and they were willing to roll the dice. They used to call it getting lucky. You find somebody that's there for you, somebody that you really want to be with, somebody that you really gel with. They say you got lucky, and there is a certain amount of luck, but how much are you going to factor luck into your findings? Are you going to let luck be the 80% or are you going to let it be the 20%? At some point, you have to take control of your situation. People can't be what you want them to be. You have to be what you need to be, and then you can find somebody else that will be that other Lego piece for you.
Mm-hmm.
But just expecting God to send you somebody, or of course, church is a dating site too, and all this kind of shit. Now, what works for somebody else is what works for them. But because we're older, we done seen our database has way more information in it than it did when we was in our teens, 20s, 30s, and even 40s. Now, you know what I mean? So, where somebody could convince you that the python didn't move, you like, yes, the fuck he did. Yeah. It moved, and it's big, and I'm not trying to get squoze.
Sure.
I'm not trying to get squoze. So, when we talk about everybody has somebody except for me, Yeah, we make that up in our own mind, whether it's true or not, because sometimes it's actually true. But you also have to ask yourself the reason that you're single in the first place, because sometimes you can actively forget.
Well, I know I'm single.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, you got so many women out here practicing abstinence, practicing celibacy, really practicing abstinence, saying that they're practicing celibacy, don't even know the real difference and all of that. Not that it really matters. I mean, you ain't fucking. Okay, cool. But the reasons that you're not having sex with anybody are normally because you got your feelings hurt somewhere along the way. You're not repaired from it, and you don't want to go on before you can get repaired. But some people aren't even seeking repair anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know. It could just be me, and yeah, I'm judgmental when it comes from. But I ain't trying to fall in love with my hand. Fuck that shit. Ain't gonna happen. My hand is not gonna be my partner. We ain't hanging out like that. You know what I'm saying? We are strictly associates. We not. You know what I mean? But so I've heard the little battle cries, all from women. I ain't never. Everybody knows that you gonna look at a man like a weirdo if he tell you I don't need no woman. I got 5 fingers and like, but women do that shit all the time.
But if anybody says that, I think they're a weirdo because that doesn't make logical sense to me.
Well,
they say nothing about that sounds normal. Like, of course, adults masturbate. That's not a question. But to act like that's just the only thing that satisfies you, I think that's weird of anyone. Because there's more to it than that. It's more to it than having an orgasm or coming. It's more to it for me. It's more to it. And you can't do that by yourself. So how are you satisfied? So I was looking at anybody, male or female, who says that. I think they're weird, that they're comfortable with that. Because then I'm like, I have a friend like that. She says don't, and she even goes as far as saying, I'm not even worried about sex and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, quit lying. Because I know she's telling a lie. I don't know who she's trying to impress, but she's on one of those, I don't know what it's called, running. I don't know. But she's on one of those weird kind of, I don't call it a dating site. I just think it's a place for people to hook up. And she's not even on it to hook up. She's just on it to talk to somebody. And I'm like, I don't get it. None of it. And I think she's full of shit. But if it works for her, that works for her. It doesn't work in my world. It doesn't work for me at all. Like, I agree with you. I can't fall in love with the toys. So that's not going to work forever. And I don't want to say I'm practicing delicacy or anything like that, or abstinence or anything like that. I'm just not having sex. And it's by choice, but it's not by choice. It's by choice because the options are out there and I'm just not interested. And it's not by choice because I don't want it to be where we just fuck and that's it. Like, I did all that. We're good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste my time on doing this and that's how we doing is laying up having sex. Baby, I'm 53. This is only going to last for so much longer that's all we're doing. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to get in the habit of that. And if that's all we're doing, then I'm not having a good time. And when I'm not having a good time, I can guarantee you're not going to have a good time. So there's no sense to me making both of us miserable.
Right. So, no. What I was saying was, what I'm saying is this. As far as people, masturbating or practicing abstinence and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's okay while you're in a transitional period. You know what I mean? While you're, but if that becoming your long-term plan, like, no, I don't need human contact anymore because I have this. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that. Even if you, and I've heard so many women say, This is better than having to worry about somebody cheating on me, worrying about somebody bringing me something, worrying about somebody being pregnant, worrying about somebody calling my phone or coming to my job or blah, 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 blah. So they'll pretty much tell you all of the negative experiences that they've had that have led them to, feeling like that they should be back by themselves for a while. But in listening to them describe all of the things that they don't have to worry about because they're practicing abstinence or just rock, create a rock in the beat with their hand. They're pretty much telling you the things that they need to actually get together in their lives. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being abstinent. There's nothing wrong with being celibate. And, for a certain time period. If that's your long-term goal, and if that's the best way that you can protect yourself, then you shouldn't ever be in the game. You know what I mean? That's just not a good look. You know what I'm saying?
I heard a man say that before. I heard a man say, I have me and Jehovah, and that's all I need. And I was like, I'm out on talking to you, buddy. Because what are you saying to me?
He's gay.
These words are insane. Like, what? Quit talking to me. I'm not the person you need to talk to at all.
Listen,
That's what you need.
I'm not listening to no man I don't give a fuck how holy you are. Don't come around me with that shit, nigga. Like, listen, I only fuck with niggas that take chances. Like, look, I mean, this might not be the best thing to do. You know what I mean? But listen, I'm gonna just give you my location in case it don't go right. You know what I mean? Avenge me.
When I hear people say that, I just think they're accepting defeat. That's what I feel like.
Well, yeah, me too.
I feel like they're accepting defeat because it works for right now. It sounds good for right now, but for real, they don't mean it. Like, I don't think my friend means it when she says it. I just think she likes to say words, but I don't think she means it. And I don't even think this fella means it. You have a call. There's a chance he will be old. So, but I don't want to do that with him because he's awkward, and the two of us can be awkward together. And his awkward is different than mine. His awkward is he doesn't know women, and I'm good on that because I'm not into teaching anybody at this age shit. So I just think he's comfortable with his situation right now, and that is an excuse to cover his situation right now instead of just saying the truth. Hey, I want to be with a woman, but I don't do great with the ladies. I kind of fuck it up in the first few minutes. I got to get my shit together. Instead of just admit that, he says, it's just me and Jehovah, and that's all we need. Because you don't mean that for real, you don't.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, a man knows when he's good with females, and he knows when he sucks with females. You know what I'm saying? And that's whether you're talking about socially, emotionally, or physically. Like, a man know when listen. If you sliding up in there, you busting off in 15 to 30 seconds, each and every time and each and every round, you already know, like,
listen,
yeah.
Let me tell you how he sucked with women. He sucked with women because one day we were just trying to and we talking slick or whatever. He finished a little something. And I'm a smart ass, so I'm like, you can't handle all of this. And he gets really angry. You think I can't? I certainly can. He just gets all
he got mad
about it. And I'm like, let me get my panties in my pocketbook and get out of here. Because what is happening?
Yo. He got mad? Oh,
he got mad. I thought he was playing at first. So I'm thinking, it's scary to get good. No, he was mad for real. And I was like, girl, get out of this space with this type of male before you end up on 2020 or Dateline.
I know. You was fucking with the black Ted Bundy.
And what makes it sad is this is a guy who's part of our circle, who we've been friends forever and a day, and we decided to cross paths and try something different. And I was like, this is a mistake, and I'll never do that with you ever again. and I'm good on you. And then after a while, he kept trying. I'm like, no, remember that time when it didn't go so great? I'm good. And then his thing was, well, it's just me and Jehovah, and I'm good with me and Jehovah. And I was like, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. And before I bring Troy in, he's on the line. I wanted to address some of the things people were saying in the chat. Shirley Cheryl, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. She says, I know a lot of people who gave up sex for religious reasons. And me too. But I never accepted that they did that because I know for a fact that God does not want human beings to not have sex. Because I asked him. And he gave me the good answer. And I'm not bullshitting. He gave me the right answer. He says, so let me get this straight. You think that I would issue sanctions on your sexuality, but I'll let you go to the park and watch two squirrels fucking. That's what you think. So I'm just saying, like, you think that's the kind of God I am. I'm gonna let you see two furry tailed rats getting it in. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever seen squirrels doing it, but it ain't, they do not slow dance. So while you on a park bench with your sweetie practicing not having sex and all this self-control and blaming it on me, you think that I'm gonna put you in that torturous situation. You know what I mean? I've seen two bees fucking, and you mean to tell me I can't do it? And they ain't had no foreplay. They wasn't dating. You know what I mean? They ain't buy each other nothing. Nothing. Right. None of that shit. No phone calls. Didn't meet the family. Didn't make no promises. Nothing. Shoot, I saw two cats. It was three on one chick. They just bit on the back of her neck. You know what I mean? Moving the tail to the side, and it was over in like, I don't know, 10 seconds. I don't even know if he made it in. I saw two legs going up and down. Next thing you know, they start rolling around like a fish out of water. But you mean to tell me that I'm going to get in the middle of your bedroom affairs? So yeah. You know what I mean? You can say that God don't want you to blah, blah, blah. Yo, y'all need to stop blaming everything on God. You know what I mean? Because some of this shit ain't adding up. You know what I mean?
Tell me. What's going on, y'all?
What up, Troy? What's good?
You listen. You a fool, but it's funny as shit.
Listen, man. I'm just trying to keep
you mean to tell me that God, like, you can sit back and even say this. You mean to tell me that God gonna put man, and let me say it like a freak, God is gonna put man to sleep and put him through so much pain to take that one rib and make woman, and then let her walk around, protruding around, because Eve was a black woman, and with all that junk back there, why you think Adam bit that motherfucking apple? Because she kept telling him, bite the apple, Adam, bite the apple. Look at this, Adam. Bite the apple.
I heard it was a peach.
I would have ate the whole damn tree.
I heard he ate a peach.
He did more than ate a peach. He ate a plum and everything.
I'm just saying.
Seen that thing that Eve was dragging around. You know what I mean? The serpent even told Adam, look at this shit, damn, Adam. What do you think the serpent was? The serpent represented a penis. And he was like, go ahead. Use mine.
Just saying.
I agree with you, Troy, because I believe if God didn't mean for me to enjoy the pleasures of black men, he would make them so scrumptious looking to me and so enticing.
I don't think that the thing about it is that sometimes men and women become so overly frustrated about when you take the sexual position out of it, there's so many other avenues that can stress you the fuck out. and that could put you in a position where you'd be like, look, everything is not always about sex. Sex is an important part of a relationship. But after the sex is gone, what's the next thing? You understand what I'm saying? There's so many other avenues that stresses you out that could put you in a corner of, fuck sex. It ain't got nothing to do with just sex and stuff. Because sex can't cover up, financial problems. Sex can't cover up cheating. Sex can't cover up, people with the verbal abuse or physical abuse. Sex can't cover that up. So many other avenues that, that it covers up. Sometimes sex can hide a lot of stuff, though. So it's like a catch-22. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. It can hide. Or you argue, and the best sex you have is makeup sex. So sometimes women want to argue with you. Damn, I ain't argued with this motherfucker in a while. I need a good one. Let's start some shit. Why you put the peanut butter, the jelly on top of the peanut butter? What? And then you'll argue about that. Next thing you know, y'all wake up the next morning and be like, God damn, that's the best sex we ever had in our life. We gotta argue more. Boo.
So let me get
this. Fuck your mother. Oh shit, and go argue again. Let's do it again. It just starts all over again.
I've never heard of peanut butter and jelly toxicity until now. Thanks.
I've been there, man.
Thanks, Troy. Thanks.
I will lie to you, son.
I know, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Sometimes everything has. I've never heard of toxic relationship based on, a peanut butter and jelly incident. But all right, so we talking about everybody has somebody except for me. Now that I'm under the impression that can make people go out and make decisions, to get with somebody that may be ill-advised. You know what I mean? Because it's like adult peer pressure. Now, do you know of any situations, or have you ever been in a situation like that where it looked like everybody else was doing well except for you? Everybody else was getting theirs except for you. Everybody would seem like they were building with each other, falling in love with each other, and being happy with each other, and you was just like, man, because we could have all been there in some form at some point.
Well, I think that I've been there a lot of times, because mentally you think that you're doing everything right, but that person can find 5 or 6 things that you're doing wrong, and you like, damn, you thinking about all this, but I just done all of that. There's so many times that I sit back and I tell a person I dealt with that, damn, God, look at your whole book of life. You just looking at what just happened the past month or two. You're not looking at what happened the past years. You're not looking at the situation with your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunts, your uncles, everything that I covered up for you, because I didn't want you to have to go through the pain and the suffering and the stress of dealing with certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
So that just gets erased, and you want to keep this at the forefront to benefit how you want to feel and what you want to do. Some points in time that you point the finger at your mate, or the other person points the finger at the other mate, and then it just gets to a point where you be like, you know what, I'm not gonna say shit else to you. Whether you're in the house or you're not in the house, you just don't feel like going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets to the point where when it gets to that point where you say, you know what, it's time for me to be a hoe. You can't get mad.
So wait. So if it's a situation where all your peers, all your friends, family members, whoever you're close to, and it seems like they're all hooking up, they're all, doing well with each other.
Happy.
Yeah. So how does becoming a hoe fit into that?
My thing is, becoming a hoe means that you're overly frustrated and tired. Because I think on both parts, it can get to a point where you're so tired of the bullshit, and you're so tired, and you didn't went through years and years of bullshit. Not one year, not 2 years, not 3 years, but you allowed yourself to adapt to the bullshit of other people, to that one person that you say, you know what, you become vulnerable. You become vulnerable to other people. If somebody say, how you doing in a nice way? You're like, damn, she like me. I think you want to screw her. Because your vulnerability kicks in so easily. You know what I mean? And when it kicks in, you be like, well, I'm just going to talk to her. It's not going to go any further than that. Then you go through a problem with your mate. Let me talk to her again. What? And then you go through a problem with your mate. Then all of a sudden, y'all laying down in the bed doing, moving back and forth in other directions. Doing backflips, dismounts, and getting tens from the judges and everything in the bedroom.
Okay, but I'm talking about a situation where you don't have somebody to compare this to. I'm talking about
if you don't have nobody to compare it to, then you're just going to continue. You have to create your own narrative. But when you're around other people, you see that movie. What was it? Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That Tyler Perry movie when her and her husband separated. He put her out and everything, and she went through all that shit. And she was at the family reunion, and she seen every couple together, and she hated seeing that shit because she wanted that bad that she hates seeing other people happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because she really couldn't enjoy herself. That's the reality of how people feel when they're going through their own problems with their mate or with women in general. You don't want to see other people. It's not that's just the human side of who people are at times. It affects you when you see other people. Well, like when you at work and you hear your coworkers talking about, well, we going to the Poconos and this, that, and the other. You be like, I call it the Bobby Womack syndrome. Especially women. To me, some women, 85 to 90% of women get the Bobby Womack syndrome. And I call it the always complains about the things she ain't got and the things her girlfriend's got.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, and that's the whole thing in the narrative, you don't want to hear about what everybody got. You're trying to create what you can bring to the table, but you want to compare things over here, apples and oranges to other things instead of creating your own narrative, and remembering how important that person is to you.
Well,
so when you see other people enjoying it, or you see other people doing their thing, it can frustrate the shit out of you because you're not doing your thing.
Yeah, but we're talking about a situation where you don't have anybody. So you basically lonely, single, whatever you want to call it, because you can be single and still not be lonely. But when you see everybody else having somebody, that's going to make your being single feel like loneliness, even if it didn't feel like that yesterday. You know what I mean? So we're basically talking about the influence that other people can have on you. Not saying that you're a follower or anything, but when it seems like it'd be just like if you was making money. I mean, if you was, let's say you just got a new job, but all of your friends that you close to, your social circle, they all starting businesses, they get money. You know what I mean? They making moves out here. They doing it. You know what I'm saying? And they making the kind of money that they want to make. They making the kind of money you want to make. And you the only one still doing a 9 to 5 where everybody else is, they getting LLCs and they blowing up, and you know what I'm saying? And they basically getting their financial portfolio together. So that can make you want to step up your game or, get into what they doing or, influence you in that way. So that's what we talking about. We're not talking about a situation where, the title of the show is Everybody Has Somebody Except for Me. Not everybody is happy except for me. So even though you may see people who may not be all of that happy, in your mind, you can feel like, well, they might not be all of that happy, but all couples have challenges. All of them everybody got problems, and they still together. They working them out. I wish I had somebody to work out with me, or work it out with me. I wish I had somebody to try to get on the same page with or whatever. Because you might be at ground zero. You like those two lights in Manhattan where the Twin Towers used to be. So you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So that can make you go on Match.com or eHarmony or some shit like that, looking for somebody, and you might not even hook up with somebody who you really want. But now you hooking up with somebody for show. You don't want to be the only one who don't have nobody. So now you got somebody just to say that you got somebody with. You know what I'm saying? So you're using them, and it's not a good look. So yeah.
You know, I can understand that. You know, so I mean, when it comes to that aspect of what you're saying, you know, you have to finesse your way through something. You know, you're not going to go out there and get with somebody just for sure. You know, at some point in time, like I always hear guys say, you know, I ain't gonna never let nobody treat me this way or treat me that way, or I ain't gonna this, or I ain't gonna never fall in love. But I said, you never know what can happen. But you just haven't found that one hasn't really came into your life right then and there. But give it time. I don't care if you 10 or 110. Somebody's gonna come into your life that's gonna rock your world and put you to a point where you're going to be with the first people that you just said up here and said. You know, because you can be single, you can be together and still feel like you're single because of the situations you've gone through. You can be in a relationship and still feel single mentally.
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
and
lonely, yes. You know, because at the end of the day, and that's what I was talking about, vulnerabilities. You know, but when you see other people, when people have what they have, and everybody has somebody but you, and that's the focal point of the show. How do you get somebody? What gets you to the point of wanting to be with somebody? Or it has to take something to get you to the point of not having nobody. Maybe you've been in a relationship so long that when that separation came about, you're so vexed, right, that you don't feel like, you know, jumping back into that swimming pool to go swimming again. You know,
mm-hmm.
and that can put your mind through a tailspin, or you could be going through so many trials and tribulations within your own self, with dealing with so much that you just don't feel like adding more stuff to your life right then and there. You just say, you know what, let me just be patient because I got to deal with me.
Yeah. You just said, what does it take for you to want to be with somebody else? That's a really good question. I think no one ever asked themselves or have had someone ask them.
What do you mean?
Good question to think about.
Hold on. Let me make sure I'm following y'all. What do you mean by that? What are you asking about, Kim? What are you saying?
Troy said, what would it take for you to want to be with someone? Somewhere in his conversation, he said, well, that's what I focus on. What would it take for you to want to be with someone? And I said, that's a good question. I don't think anyone has ever had someone ask them that, nor have they thought of themselves. What does it take for me to really want to be with someone? I don't think anyone has ever thought that through. What does it take for you to want to be with somebody?
Well, I think people ask the question in a different way. They might ask, what do you look for in a woman, or what do you look for in a man? So they might not put it the way that you're saying, but they may put it in that way. And sometimes it might be, huh?
I don't think those are the same though. I don't think those two, they don't walk together. Those aren't the same thing. Because what you want in a person isn't the same as what will it take for you to be with someone else or for you to be with someone. That's more of a personal, internal, in my opinion, that's more of a personal, internal. What does it really take for me to want to be with somebody? And I mean, seriously, I'm not talking about having sex. I'm just talking about what.
And that's the part, that's the part I'm talking about. Because you can go out there, you know, I've heard women say, you know, I can go out there, any woman can go out there and get a wet ass.
True.
And that's what, but the thing is that, and that's the same thing with men. Anybody can go out there and go around and just screw with anybody.
Right.
But we're not talking about anybody. We're talking about having somebody like you see somebody else have somebody. You understand what I'm saying? You know, some like I said, some people say, I'm just gonna be a whore. I'm not gonna go out there. I don't want to intertwine because they've been hurt before. Or they felt as though they put so much involved in that one person, and then one person, like I said, did them dirty. So they say, you know what, I'm never gonna go through that again in my life. So they changed the narrative of, say that again?
That's not always the case.
I said some people.
Yeah, but that's where people migrate to the most. A lot of people assume someone who's been hurt or damaged or sad or mistreated or whatever, and that's why they're single or that's why they're in that situation. But some of it could just be people just are because they haven't found their something. Like when they say find your tribe, that's kind of in the same thing. Until you find that person who fits into that puzzle piece that fits into your puzzle, and you have a piece that fits into their puzzle, sometimes you are just out here. That's it. It doesn't have it. And maybe it's just because I'm speaking from my own point of view. I'm not hurt or damaged or anything like that, or been brokenhearted or nothing like that. I'm just single because I'm fucking single. And it's because I haven't found the piece that fits into my puzzle, nor have I found the puzzle to fit my feet. That's all it is. And I think there are more people out there like that than not. Of course, we see in the media, we see in the social media streets, and everywhere we look, they show like the world is just so full of people who are broken and hurt and sad and disgusted, and they've been mistreated, they've been in a bad relationship. And sometimes it's just people who are like, I would like to put my piece over there, but my piece don't fit in that puzzle. And until I found the puzzle where it fits, then I'm just going to be out here until it happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, at some point you have to make decisions, you know, but that nonetheless, when you have stressful situations in your life going on, or you may be experiencing bouts with depression or whatever, it's easy for everybody else to look like they're doing well when you and for you to feel like you're doing bad yourself. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what kind of material things that you have and all that kind of stuff. It's easy to look at somebody. Let me just put it this way. If you've ever had anybody be jealous of your emotional state, you understand what I'm talking about fully.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you've ever had somebody hate on you because you was happy, you might not have been happy all the motherfucking time, but you was way happier for when they had their eyes on you each time than they could ever experience. You know what I'm saying? You could have a morning job and you was good morning a bunch of people. And they're like, well, damn. You know what I mean? Hey, it is 6:30 in the morning. You already all up and jolly and all of that shit on some Santa Claus shit. And you
Santa Claus.
You know what I mean? Ho, ho, ho. Hey, good morning. Good morning. You know what I'm saying? And they mad at you for that. And a lot of people experience that. You know, like, how can such and such, be all positive and all cordial and all happy all the time and all that shit early in the morning or period. And they just mad because they can't get there. You know what I mean? They got all of the bad things going on in their head. They got the worms in their heart instead of the blood vessels and all of that shit. So yeah. So even though everybody around them is not happy and doing well and enjoying life and all of that, to them they are, because they have so much of that stinking thinking going on. They got so much of that negativity going on up in their heads and in their hearts that they don't think that anybody else can feel as bad as they do on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So
misery loves company comes from. That's where that term misery loves company.
But yeah, you know what? And misery does love company. But guess what? So does satisfaction. So does joy. I've never met anybody that's doing well that didn't pull somebody up with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? We concentrate on the misery loving company. Yeah, they do. That's all hate. But when I know too many people who, when they got theirs, they made sure they put everybody else on. Now, it didn't always work because some people ain't ready to be successful. They're not ready to do well.
But that takes me out, because I agree with you 100%. But see, it's an emotionally draining situation that when you sit back and you see people down and you pull them up emotionally and you help them out emotionally, or you sow that tide with them, meaning that they needed some funds to help them out, and you sowed the tide with them by blessing them, and you turn back around, and when that person that sowed that tide fell at them, there's no retribution from the other person that you just sowed the tide with. So all of a sudden, you in the worst predicament you in, because that person the people that you done looked out for so much, you respected so much from. You know what I mean? Now
the only thing that's happy. That's not the only part of joy and happiness. Like, it's not just about bringing somebody up with you financially. It could just be, listen, my group of my shenanigans team, we have the best time laughing at the most immature things. And once one starts laughing, the others, and then we're all just laughing and we can't stop. And it'll go on until one of us is choked out and is in pain. But we have great pleasure in our own secret stupidity and shenanigans and foolishness and immaturity. And we have a great comfort in it. And it's not fun by yourself doing it. It's so much more joy when we do it together. So it's not just about happiness and joy's company because you're bringing someone up in a financial way. It could just be you're bringing everybody's mood up to the level you're at, and then it just expands, and then it passes on from one group to the next and makes your day better. So it can't just be about bringing somebody up financially.
Let's just break it down like this then. No matter, like, like when I do, like, you can do with so much covering up, because even when you bring them up, when like I have to say your shenanigan, because I love the terminology, your shenanigan crew. That's funny shit. When you sit back and you're around your shenanigan crew and y'all laughing, giggling, and enjoying the kikiing and the how-howing and having fun and having a ball. Because when you're around your crew, you have fun, but when you leave that crew, there's a tendency to remember where your mind is at that time. Once that laughing is over, you can cover up so much pain after that laughing is over. You understand what I'm saying?
All I'm saying is this. All I'm saying is true happiness does not want other people to not be happy. That fake happiness shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, that wants to be happy all by themselves. But real happiness comes from a good place. The true happiness comes from a seed. That fake happiness, that's GMO. That's genetically modified. That can be made in the laboratory. So,
I love the analogies, bro.
but I mean, it's real shit.
Look at how
It's
we
hard
are
to-
here. We had shows where we just crack up laughing, the three of us like maniacs for no reason. And it's funny, and people in the chat laugh, but I think we feed off of each other's energy sometimes when we get going, and it's hard for us to stop. And that's pure and natural. There's no pretend in it. It is completely 100% natural. And it's freeing and it's inhibited. And the thing about it is, I know for me, any issues I've had prior to that moment, I still take that moment with me after, and I can still feel that euphoria from it, where the world doesn't feel so weighty. The problems don't feel so weighty. Because I'm like, I had a good time at 3:00 in the morning with Son and Troy on some foolishness, and they are silly, but thank God I have them in my world.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, where I was getting to when I was talking about how when people with like the same way that misery loves company, satisfaction and joy and happiness, they like. I mean, shit. All right, if misery loves company, then happiness wants a party. They like the party. So but all of that's based on what we're talking about. Like when you see somebody that has something and you have nothing, it looks like they have way more than what they have. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are hungry as shit and you haven't eaten in days, somebody that's eating a candy bar looks like they have a 4-course meal. You understand? So when you are hungry for love and you see everybody around you seeming like they it's like they got a fishing pole and tackle, and they didn't just do their pole in the water and came up with all this love. Meanwhile, you've been, you know what I mean? You done had your pole in the water all day. You can't get a bite. So
there's something wrong with me because I don't feel that. I've never felt that.
Yeah, you may not have felt it, and that's what I'm talking about. Because I haven't felt this way either. But there are more than enough examples that are out here to show you that, like, yeah, this shit is going on. Shit, I mean, everything that we talk about can't apply to us. Thank God it don't. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But all right, look at the poll right now. When we had about 12 people, 15, 16 people participate in the poll, you see how strong it was with it's about who would, or no, it was no, I have to be with who I want. That was dominating. Now that it's up to 30 votes, like it's almost even with all 4 categories. So the more people come in, the more they're like, shit, yeah, I've done it before. Would you ever be with somebody would you ever be with somebody just because they wanted to be with you? Before, nobody was saying that they ever done it. Now it's like, yeah, I've done it before. Shit. Why not? So not everybody treats their emotions the same. Not everybody treats their relationships the same. Not everybody has the same goals. But you should at least know what goals you do have, so you can at least, you can get shit together in some kind of way. So, I mean, it's look, everybody has somebody except for me. We, in some way, if we take the person out of it, if we take the relationship part of it out of it, then we've all been there. Everybody could have been wearing shell top Adidas, and you had a pair of Nike Cortez. Ain't nothing wrong with your Nike Cortezes, but back at that age, you might have went and got some shell top Adidas.
I think the question too is, what does it take? Like, it's not so much, it is, but it's not. It's not so much of everybody else is in a relationship or everybody else is falling in love or whatever, but I think some of it is too, what about the relationship part do you really want? Do you really enjoy? Like I say, there are parts of relationships that I miss. There are parts of being in a relationship that I miss. And sadly, sex is not there, even though it's in my top 5 things. That's not part of what I miss. It's a lot of little things that I miss. That talking and having, this little verbal battle, flirty-ish verbal battles and just tiny things like with my ex. I remember he came home from work one day, and that's when everybody was staying at this house. And he had just walked into work, and he came in and he was like, "Hey, this is the last green apple. I'm going to put it up for you and put it on the dresser or wherever you put it for me." And it was just that little thing, like, "Damn, he just got in from work and he's going to get some later." Because he knew that was my thing, and he made it his business to go do something that made me happy. And it was something little like that. So I miss those kind of things, that little bit of stuff. So maybe it's not so much of they're looking at other people in their situation, but they're looking at what they miss about being in that situation. And that's equally as important, if not the most important thing. Because it's easy to look at somebody and think, "Oh, they're in love, I want to be in love." But what about it do you want that equates to you being in love? Because it can't just be, "I'm in love because I'm in love." It has to be something associated with it. So maybe some of that too.
And that's
I still think some of it is Troy's question too, about what does it take for you to be in a relationship or to be ready to be in a relationship?
Well, I think you have to know yourself, and you have to be, you have to exercise some patience. But
the thing about that's one thing, son, is that what you have to do is that you have to not want to change the person that you are because of what you went through in past relationships. Because see, what happened is you get so overly frustrated in past relationships that you start wanting to take parts of you away from certain situations. Well, I'm not going to be this. I'm not going to be that respectful. I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm going to have a lot more red flags. There's a lot of armor instead of just still, and that's when you're not ready. So you have to erase the bullshit that you went through after 10 years of being with one person, after 5 years, or after 2 years, or even after months. You have to erase past relationships just to get to the point where you can say, "This is where I want to be now, and let me dive back into the water so I can be at where them people at that you see that have people, and I don't have nobody." You need to take. How do you get out of that realm of being part of the end game when you out of the game? Because the same people that sit up here and say, "Well, right now I'm practicing abstinence," or I'm focusing on myself and focusing on my religion. To me, there's hurt with that. They didn't just come out and start being that way.
Yeah, that's true.
They didn't just come out and start being that way. They was doing what got them there is the frustration and the agonies of pain, or they felt as though they were being promiscuous and being out there, just throwing themselves out there, and they developed something of themselves. So now you're trying to make changes through religion and through abstinence and making the right decisions, because you know that you sometimes use sex to cover up the pains or the things that you went through in your past. So you want things to be different so you can get to that group that has what they have, and you don't have nothing, but you want to be part of the group that has something. And you don't want it to be fake. Just like the thing, like what you just said. You know what I mean? So you don't want the fake shit. You want the seed. You don't want the GMO. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing about it. So You have to just have that magical erase the other bullshit, but keep the person that you are. Like I told my son, I said, if you don't make it with this girl that you with, don't allow nobody to change the person that you are. Always keep a good heart. And don't go into your new relationship with old relationship shit that you're bringing into it. Because you're gonna go through the same thing. I don't think any man or any woman should tell that man what happened in your old relationship. Because when y'all go through an argument,
hold on. Let's reverse this, and then we got to get on the body here. Let's reverse it. So, what if you're looking for the same things in a relationship that you had before? Because not everybody who breaks up is disgruntled, pissed off, and totally disenchanted with the situation that they are no longer in. Sometimes, they may have gotten a lot of the things that they always wanted from the person that they was with, and that person could have passed. They could have died. You know what I mean? Or something could have happened like that, to whereas they may feel like, well, nobody's ever going to treat me as good as my spouse did, or the love of my life, or whatever. So it's still the same thing. It's still the same way. Everybody has somebody except for me. And if we're talking about what would it take for you to be with somebody, you might be looking for the same things in somebody else, and whoever you're looking for, that you were given in your situation before. It's not always about not looking for the same things, or it's not always about being hurt or played or dissed or disrespected or ignored or neglected. It's not always like that. Sometimes it's like, I don't have anybody who will treat. I haven't met anybody that will do the things that I like to do, or that makes me feel the way the last one made me feel, or whatever. And I've seen that situation happen even when the split or the breakup wasn't amicable, but it was still like, well, that's what I missed. That might have been what they was pissed off about so much. You're like, shoot, it took me so long in order to get somebody to treat me like that, and then they just dropped me with no explanation, or they ghosted me or something like that. So everything except for the ghosting was great. So I mean, that may still be what you're looking for in the next relationship. So I mean, there are a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. That's all I'm saying. It's not always about, but when you are looking at other people looking like, just like even though you may be looking for a lot of the characteristics that you lost and the love that you lost, everybody else having what you don't have right now is going to kind of look like it's going to look like a mirage out in the desert. Just like you get so hot and dehydrated out in the desert or whatever from heat exhaustion, you start seeing mirages of water that's not even there. The same thing can happen in a different way when you are looking for something, or you're sad that something is no longer in your life, and it seems like everybody else is getting it, even though they're not really getting it in the same way. They're not the best example that you could find. It may look like it to you because you have zero. $100 is a lot of money to somebody who does not have any money. $100 can buy anything compared to zero. So look, let's get on up out of here, y'all. It's 4:00 in the morning. I've had a rough one today. Hey, look. My power level, the battery level is lower than the motherfucker. I gotta get to bed and hook the charger up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do it.
Man, you get ready to play some Grand Theft Auto.
No, the fuck I ain't. I never play video games during the week. Because when I play, I like to play for a long ass time. I don't touch that machine until Friday night.
Yeah, but I agree. A lot of things that was just said on here, although we laugh at something, some of it funny, some of it I can understand where you're coming from, because some part of me is there now, and some part of me has been there before, so I can understand it.
Well, good looking.
I feel like when me, you, and Kels is on the line, we get the team together. It's like bringing back Cool in the game.
Well, I don't know if you know that everything that Kim said is scripted. She wrote all that shit down. It looked like it was natural. That shit sound natural.
Soon as you get the top and she start writing shit down at work, let me write this shit down. I know Trey is not gonna say some shit, and I'm gonna have to come in.
I'm telling you, she reading right off the script. That's why.
So I'm gonna tell you from one thing from the door. You start talking that masturbation and all that other orgasm. She talking about common orgasm. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about tonight? And then I turned back around and said, somebody said about masturbation. I said, there's no way in the world I can masturbate. My skin too rough. I might give myself an Indian burn. It'd be like two sticks rubbing together. I go to the doctor, gotta go to the ER. He talk about how the fuck you burn your shit off.
That sounds like you need some lubricant with wrestling or something. I don't know.
Ain't no way in the world, man. I can't touch myself. I think if a man can masturbate and enjoy that, you more of a freak, bro. You real deep into
Yeah. This conversation is over. All right, listen. I want to thank y'all for coming through. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't stealing no more minutes. All right. Y'all have a good night, man. Thanks for calling. Thanks for calling in.
Guys.
All right, peace. We had to take it back to 2001, 2002. Night and weekend minutes. Look, it's morning time. Night and weekend minutes is over. This ain't free no more. It ain't free no more. Listen, I want to thank all y'all for coming through. We about to do these birthday shout outs. But before we even get into that, I want to thank all of y'all for coming through. Thanks to everybody for participating in the chat. My man Gavin coming through. What up, my dude? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Please hit the like button, y'all. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Let's do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious April 8th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. Get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box. My man Joshua Islam. Happy birthday to you and Lanita Seiko. I'm sorry. Happy birthday to you. And also Lamar Tyndall. Happy birthday. And Ramonda Blackman. And Jamila Richardson. Toya Reed. Nasha Sweet as Honey Mitchell. And last but not least, my go-getter Alicia Moore. Happy birthday to y'all, all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious April 8th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out. Rock on it to the damn, to rock out. Rock on it to do the damn rock out. Rock on it, do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man, being all by yourself it can be a lonely state. And that's not to say that a lot of people don't like to be by themselves, or be independent and things like that. And that's not to say that just because you see somebody with something that you would like for yourself, it's not always about monkey see, monkey do, or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with liking what you like, or seeing somebody, that has what you would like to have, especially when it comes into the area of intimacy or love or emotions and things like that. It's not unusual or unnatural to want to be happy with somebody else that you can share with. We are not solo human beings. We are not a solo species. We were not meant to be separated from each other and to be bickering with each other and always at odds with each other and trying to hurt each other or be misunderstanding of each other or unappreciative of each other. We weren't meant to do that. We were not put on this earth to live our lives in a vacuum and act like we don't care and that nothing hurts or nothing is effective against us. That's not what we were put here for. At the same time, you want to make sure that you make the right decisions when it comes to trying to choose somebody for you, because you have to deal with that. And you want to be able to deal with whoever you have chosen to deal with. Taking a last look at the poll, man, out of 34 votes, would you ever be with somebody just because they wanted to be with you? Yes, I've done it before, 26%. No, I have to be with who I want, 24%. It's about who will treat you right, 24%. And that would be stupid, 26%. I want to thank all of y'all for who participated in the poll. And thanks for coming through, man. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. We see y'all tomorrow night. Like I said, once again, peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. 2 a.m. tomorrow night. Make sure y'all come on through. We'll be talking about something fly again. Watch. I bet you. Bet me. Pinky. Ah! 1.